stampingcatcrew.com. Today we're going to make this kind of offset layered card. It's kind of a, trying to think of what that is, the negative space card, except just using a little bit of offset from the die cuts. So I had some friends that really liked this, so I wanted to just show how easy it was. I don't normally do die cutting on the YouTube because we're all pretty familiar with it, but I am going to show a quick run through today. So I'm going to set the card aside and show you what I started with. I'm basically going to use the Wood Words stamp set. The sample that I had said, "Hello friend." This one I chose to use "A Note for You," and that is literally all we used other than this floral arrangement stamped in Pear Pizzazz. So the die cuts that we're going to use are just these three pieces right here. So I'm going to set those aside and bring in my sample card. And I always get a little piece of scratch paper for the background because I like to stamp off the edges. And it gives me some space to do that. And that way it doesn't look so confined, like you're trying to stamp in this little space. It kind of opens it up a bit. So I've already mounted. This is the one we're going to do for the Pear Pizzazz. We've got our ink ready. So we're just going to ink that up. And like I said, I'm actually going to go off the paper. So I want to have one coming off and down. And one of the things with stamping is you want to go straight down and straight back up with even pressure. You don't want to rock your stamp a lot, otherwise you're going to get that shadow around your stamp. So we don't want to do that. So it helps when you're doing kind of a background to mix things up a bit and kind of flip your stamp around and whatnot, so things don't kind of all fall the same. I'm gonna take, again, let's see, I think we'll go back here. And as you can see, this is not an exact science. I'm just kind of having a little bit of fun. And I know that I want to have some white space when I'm done as well. So that's what we're going to leave it with for right now. The "A Note for You," I did just use the Memento ink, so super quick and easy. Set this aside. And I'm going to bring in my big shot. So I'm going to put down our base that we just created. And then we have our 3 framelits that we're going to have here. And like I said, I think it was good to have some in the white that would offset. And so when I sprinkle these around a bit, I want to be able to have that happen. And I know also that I'm wanting to put a ribbon across here, so I want to leave enough room to do that as well. And I think that'll be good. So this is what we're going to start with. I'm going to be very careful and lay that down. And what I do is I just put my hand on top of this and feed it through, and then just set my hand here and I just go straight through, and usually I just come back the same direction. For something that's this solid, you probably really don't need to do that because it's not an intricate die cut, but I just think it's easier for me to grab the dies. So no logic, just easy. So these are our pieces. Heart, star, and moon. Put those back on my magnetic sheet. Here. These are the ribbon pieces that I've already cut. So I want to go ahead and adhesive this down to the base that I already created, and then I'll show you how we pop these up. So I've got my snail adhesive, and I'm just going to run it right around the edges. And then I've created my base already. So basically I've created an A2 base from Basic Black. It's cut at 11 inches by 4 1/4. It is scored and folded in half at 5 1/2 inches. And I did put a little bit of the greenery on the inside. So my inside white layer is 5 1/4 by 4, and that is going to be the same size as this layer, 5 1/4 by 4. So you saw that I put the adhesive around all 4 edges here, and basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to tuck the edges around the end, and that attaches to the adhesive that I've laid down. And then if I just take a little bit more snail adhesive and put that back on the top, you don't end up with a portion that's not sticking. I'm going to add this layer, centering it on the basic black, and it's attaching right to the base. And then these are my 3 pieces that I had, and I've got just the regular size dimensionals, so not the minis, because we've got some pretty big pieces. And then because this is a moon shape, you end up with your edges here, and I'm actually just going to take a little snip, and I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to use that as my dimensional. So those are ready to be popped up. This is what I meant when I said that I wanted to create that space, and I didn't necessarily want them all to be the same way either. So, and they don't even have to go in exactly the same. So if we had white this way, I can offset this a little bit this way and have that white space here, and that way it ends up with that nice black frame right around that. I'm going to do the same thing with the heart. I'm going to do the same thing with the moon, except we're going to go in the other direction and a little bit up, because we want to have that difference there, to have just not all the white. So the only thing that we have left to do is to tie the bottom ribbon. I cut a piece about 4 inches long. It probably could have been a little bit shorter, but it makes it so much easier to work with. And one of the things that makes this easy to add in your sequins, these are the mini black sequins, and I'll tell you a little trick. I actually add a dot of glue after I've cut it on each end, and it keeps your little sequins from falling off. But once I've added this in here, I can just thread my sequins through before I pull this tight, just like that. And then we do have this here, and then I always tell you pretty up your edges. So I'm gonna have here, here, and our last part is some sparkle. And so we've got these wonderful rhinestones that I'm just going to sprinkle a few around. And let's see. And it's enough to give this a really pretty kind of shimmer when you're doing a photograph of it or something, or even in hand. So I've done my envelope already. I always tell you, remember, make your envelopes pretty. So that's it, start to finish. It's a super quick and easy card, and I just think it's lovely. So hopefully you enjoyed it and got something different to do with the wood crate die cuts, other than make the little super cute treat crates. But we also want to be able to be really versatile too. So thanks so much for stopping by, and happy creating.